So, Socrates was this guy that lived in ancient Athens, who we set as basically the founder of Western philosophy. He never wrote any of his teachings down, so all accounts that we have of his life are from secondary sources, mostly his student Plato. He was known as the mad gadfly of Athens, due to his unceasing pestering of the common people with unanswerable questions. The story behind his development as a critical thinker is the oldest story in philosophy, and helps establish the Socratic method. In the story, a friend of Socrates asked the Oracle of Delphi, who was like Google for the ancient Greeks, who the wisest man in the world was. The oracle told the friend that it was our man, Socrates. Upon hearing of this title, Socrates was greatly confused, believing that he had no wisdom at all. He decided to ask every wise man he could find, question after question, to determine their wisdom, questions to which he himself had no definitive answer. Maybe their responses could showcase the difference. The type of questions that he asked were like, what is justice? What is beauty? What is a good life? Questions that, at the surface, seem to have simple answers that everyone knows, but fall apart under any amount of scrutiny. After some quick rounds of questioning with each wise man, he discovered that these so-called wise men knew little to nothing at all, and just believed they were wise. Socrates concluded, almost paradoxically, that he was the wisest man in all of Greece, for he knew that he knew nothing. Others that believe they are wise are mistaken, for at the heart they too knew just as little. Since it seemed he was the only person aware of their own ignorance, he was therefore the wisest. Never given an answer that satisfied his thirst for truth, Socrates continued to berate the common people with these same questions, like a gadfly bothering a barn animal. As one can imagine, this got on the nerves of almost every single person really quickly. Added to the fact that he was unemployed, homeless, and rude to even the closest friends, he pushed the people a bit too much and was put on trial in 399 BC. The charges placed on him? Corrupting the minds of the youth and not believing in the gods of the state. In ancient Athens, courts worked slightly different than the ones we know today. Back then, there would be 2 vote cycles in the trial, one to determine if the defendant was guilty, and one to vote on the punishment if so. Throughout the trial, Socrates refused to compromise on his doctrines, and continued to criticize even the people who voted him innocent in the first place. By the end of the trial, more people voted for him to die than voted him guilty in the start. He was also offered a get-out-of-death-free card, where he would be allowed to live if he ceased bothering people with his questioning. He declined the offer, announcing proudly to the world his belief that the unexamined life was not a life worth living. A saying that has been passed down from generation to generation of philosophers, and is the foundation of all critical thought. Shortly after his trial, Socrates was forced to consume hemlock, from which he died. His student, Plato, witnessed the death of his favorite teacher, and I will talk about him more next time in his own video. Let's just say the death of one's mentor at the hands of the common people did not go over lightly. Socrates, however crazy he seemed, pointed out how, as humans, even the smartest of us can be victims of ignorance, and that recognizing our own ignorance can be the gateway to understanding the world through new eyes. Next time, I will be covering his student Plato, how Western philosophy grew from a single gadfly in the streets to social traditions that persist to this day. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, leave a comment below, or hit the share button. Every little bit helps. See you in the next video.